we learn about employee compensation objectives. To attract well qualified and competent personnel, to motivate them for higher levels of performance by making arrangement of incentive payments, to retain the present workforce by keeping their pay levels at the compensative levels, to raise the moral workforce, to establish internal as well as external quality. Internal equity refers to payment of similar wages for similar work. External equity means payment of similar wages to similar jobs in comparable firms. To maintain the labor and administrative costs in line with the ability of the organization to pay. To comply with wage legislation, to project a good image of company, to satisfy employees and to reduce the incidence of grievances, absenteeism and quitting, to reward the desired behavior such as good performance, loyalty, dedication, etc. Factors influencing the compensation. The significant factors affecting the employee compensation can be grouped together into two broad categories: external and internal factors. We'll learn about external factors. Demand and supply for labor in the labor market. Labor union influence. Government policies like Minimum Wages Act 1948, the Equal Remuneration Act 1976, etc. The privilege rate of pay or comparable wages rate also influences the employee compensation. The present cost of living, the state of the economy like boom, recession, depression, etc. Advancement of technology also influences the fixation of wages level. Internal factors. These factors include the following: ability of the organization to pay, the performance, experience and seniority of the employee, recruitments of the job such as physical and mental abilities. Job evaluation helps to establish satisfactory wage differentials. Organization strategy regarding employee compensation. We'll look into compensation planning. The steps involved in employee compensation planning are as follows: understanding the company's wage philosophy, guidelines, policy, and so on. Defining the boundaries and limits of employees in the organization. Knowing the expectations and want list of the employees. Estimating cost of various alternative programs and comparing the same with estimates of their effectiveness. Cost benefit analysis of financial and non-financial rewards. Recognizing a part of compensation cost as investment in employees which pays for long. Based on all of these, working out of a final pay packages including financial and non-financial rewards. Compensation policies. Compensation policies are the collection of rules that govern the calculation of salary and benefit entitlement for all individuals employed by the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. Currently, there are 24 compensation policies, and these are the listed below. Determination of salary and benefits for new employees policy. Salary and benefits upon to transfer from an agency. Board commission policy. Supervisory salary adjustment policy. Pay plan conversation policy. Transfer of employee policy. Promotions, demotions like voluntary and involuntary, exclusion from the demotion procedures, expectations and appeals, increments, point bands, position rating, simulation pay action, temporary assignments, re-employment after layoff, emoluments and gratitudes, retroactive salary adjustments, step progression, red circle, secondments, contractual employment, market adjustment policy, management overtime policy, student employment and compensation policy. So those are the policies. Those are compensation policies. And we'll come to the objectives and principles of wages and salary administration. The main object of wage and salary administration is to establish and maintain an equitable wage and salary system. This is so because only a properly developed compensation system enables an employer to attract, obtain, retain, and motivate people of required caliber and qualification their organization. These objectives can be seen in more orderly manner from the point of view of the organization. Its individual employees and collectively there are outlined and discussed subsequently organizational objectives. The compensation system should be duly aligned with the organizational need and should also be flexible enough to modifications in response to change. Accordingly, the objectives of system should be to enable an organization to have the quantity and quality of staff it requires, retain the employees in the organization, motivate employees for good performance for further improvement in performance, maintain equity and fairness in compensation for similar jobs, achieve flexibility in the system to accommodate organizational changes as and when these take place, make the system cost effective. Individual objectives. From individual employees' point of view, the compensation system should have the following objectives: ensure a fair compensation provides compensation according to employees' worth, avoids the chances of favoritism from creeping in when wage rates are assigned, enhances employee morale and motivation. Collective objectives. These objectives include compensation in ahead of inflation, matching with market rates, increase in compensation reflecting increase in the prosperity of the company, compensation system free from management discretion, to recruit persons for a firm, to control payrolls, to satisfy people, reduce the incidence of turnover, grievances and frictions, to motivate people to perform better, to maintain a good public image. Principles of wages and salary administration. The main principles that govern wages and salary fixation rate are three: external equity, internal equity, individual worth. External equity. The principle acknowledges that factors, variables, external organization influence levels of comparison in organization. These variables are such as demand and supply of labor, the market rate, etc. If these variables are not kept into consideration while fixing wage and salary levels, these may be insufficient to attract and retain employees in the organization. The principles of external equity ensure that jobs are fairly compensated in comparison to similar jobs in the labor market. Internal equity. Organizations have various jobs which are relative in value term. In other words, the values of various jobs in an organization are comparative. Within your own department, pay levels of the teachers like professors, reader and lecturer are different as per the perceived or real difference between the values of job they perform. This relative worth of jobs is ascertained by job evaluation. Thus, an ideal compensation system should be established and maintain appropriate differentials based on relative values of jobs. In other words, the compensation system should ensure that more difficult jobs should be paid more. And individual worth. According to this principle, an individual should be paid as per their performance. Thus, the compensation system, as far as possible, enables the individual to be rewarded according to the contribution of to organization. Alternatively speaking, these principles ensure that each individual's pay is fair in comparison to other doing the similar jobs, etc. For example, equal pay for equal work. In some and subsistence, a sound compensation system should be encompass factors like adequacy of wages, social balance, supply and demand, fair comparison, equal pay for equal work and measurement. Thank you very much guys for watching this video. For more updates we are going to give you in the next video. Thank you.